Nobody's going anywhere until we find that gun. If you're a responsible gun owner and you're willing to take those responsibilities, that's great. The issue is how do we get people to deal with those weapons they no longer want to be responsible for? So we're going to try to get as many as we can. Do we have a fixed number? No. But if we can draw that line bright, and the other part of this is on enforcement, but if we can draw that line bright to give people an opportunity to be responsible with their guns and do the right things for them, whether it be turn it in, lock it up, or dispose of it in another responsible manner, that's what our goal is here. Does that make sense? Mm-hmm. All right, let me go to this table here.
Do you have a statistic on how many weapons are being manufactured and turned loose into society each day?
Not each day. I have it yearly. We do between about 3 million a year.
So
and those include rifles and handguns.
Yeah. So basically, the amount of guns that are being turned loose into society far exceeds the number of guns that are being collected.
You know, and that's really been, you know, in the last 7 years that it's grown this much. The industry's not as big as we think. They do about $1 billion in profit and 11.7 in sales. And so that 3 million number is really a little bit less. Well, this year it's not. So it is not growing as expansive as we think, but it has grown from what it was in, let's say, in 89 going to 90 to what it is today. It's been a tremendous growth. Does that make sense?
Yes, I can see that the number of guns that are just lying around in a home could be a real prevention for accidental death within a home. But as far as keeping guns off the streets.
So let's talk about that real quick. That's the next one. There is approximately 31,000 gun deaths in this country a year, right? And which one do we get most excited about?
Kids.
Gangs, the homicides, and etc. Of those 31,000, guess how many are homicides?
3,000.
3,000? 11. So that means the other 20,000 minus about 1,000 are suicides.
Or domestic violence?
No.
No.
Suicides. Domestic violence is a homicide. Okay. So guns, you know, one of the reasons people choose guns for suicide, it's easy. People follow the path of least resistance like water. So let me take this question right here and come back here, I'll come back there.
I was wondering if you're working also with educating the children and youth about this program and the harms of guns.
Okay, so yes, we do. We do work with schools. One of the things that we were able to do, which was really unique in Chicago, is really to push the date out and give the information of the program out through all our schools. We were lucky with the CPS. We gave every kid that left the school, we sent home flyers with them to say, hey, here's an opportunity for them to turn in their guns. So yes.
Is there what kind of connection is there between reduced gun usage and gun turn-in programs?
Very little.
Very little. Okay. So
In terms of, if you're asking, you know, if you turn in your gun, do we have a direct correlation to gun crimes in the crowd? That correlate, it is not as the direct, I can't say if you turn in a gun on Saturday, that month crime's going to fall 10%. We can do, there is some correlations between the number of guns turned in and the opportunity for violence. It reduces. Getting gun stats, particularly when it comes to violent crimes other than the actual crime, starts to get real difficult. Like, I can't really tell you, no one really can tell you this, how much does a gun injury really cost? I think that was coming here. Thank you.
Within the law enforcement culture, particularly in the Chicago area, what is the speculation, I guess, about why Chicago's homicide rate is so large a percentage of the numbers that you just cited in the country, in the entire country?
We have 508 of the 11,000 last year. Why is it so large? the speculation, we like to say gangs, okay? And here was where I get in trouble with my boss. Let's say you're all Rotarians, right? And something goes wrong in your personal life, you do X or Y, okay? I can't always say that it's because you're a member of the Rotary Club. You might have done X or Y because whatever other reason, but it's not negative correlation, just because you're a member. All right. A lot of these conflicts are beyond stupid. This is really Jerry Springer stuff. Yes, we do have a lot of things that are gangs. I mean, in terms of, you know, criminal enterprise that I'm trying to protect my drug territory, et cetera. Two gangs could be upset at each other because, and this is what it is, a lot of it is, Facebook. What they put on Facebook. They diss somebody on Facebook, you disrespect me, and then we have two shootings. I kid you not. A lot of it's Facebook, a lot of it's the same stupid stuff we were kids, except they bring guns to it, and availabilities of guns. That's really what it comes down to, in my opinion. Let me take 1 and 2. Someone give me time.
There's a school district in Texas where they allow all the faculty there, the bus drivers and everything, who want guns to go through all the examination and do that. And then they can carry their guns and no one knows who they are. What is your attitude on that?
So, every community is going to make a decision about guns and how they want to deal with it. If a community chooses to take those inherent risks with guns, that's their choice. Now, do I think it's the best practice? Absolutely not. Here's a fact. I'm standing right here. This gentleman is right there. If you pulled a gun on me, the chance of you hitting me, I'm more than 7 feet away from you now, it's about 50%. And at this moment, in your mind, you're going, he's wrong, I can hit him at any moment. Okay? Once the adrenaline starts pumping, and et cetera, you will not hit me. I'm pretty confident of it. Unless you're trained. Then I'm in trouble. All right, let me come back here and I'll come close with you.
What sort of resistance do you run into in hosting gun events from communities? And how can our community host a gun event?
We have.
Turn in?
We just did.
Okay,
Yeah.
two questions. Number one, resistance. Government's trying to take your gun. That's number one. I'm, fronting the Second Amendment. That's the big, that's the big debate.
Do you have support of big groups like the NRA, or do they?
Well, Ted Nugent hasn't called. Okay, so, we welcome people who support taking illegal, abandoned, and unwanted guns off the street. Okay, pure and simple. If you're willing to work with us on that, we can work with you there. Right. The biggest thing for us to do a gun turn-in is have the support of the city and part of the local faith base in the community. In order for us to do a gun turn-in, all the gun turn-ins we do in faith-based locations. And the reason being is real simple. People feel more comfortable coming to a church. And people are generally better behaved. And this is something that you want. You get a room full, we have rooms full of 100 people sitting there with guns. Okay? And 3 officers and 100 people. Okay? You want them to be very calm, relaxed, carrying guns. The second thing that the reason we do it there is it gives us some authenticity. Every February, you're going to hear a story about a police department going in and doing this thing, getting all these people to come in. And people are really worried about that. You'll be surprised. The church, they feel a little more comfortable. And I think I'm out of time. So I'll be around to answer questions. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. That was an excellent presentation. I really enjoyed it. I learned a lot. I'm sure we all did. To thank our speakers, our club buys a book at the Evanston Public Library.
Okay.
So there's the book we are buying to commemorate your presentation is called Reducing Gun Violence in America.
Nice.
And that will be in the library. In the front of the book is a book plate that people will see saying, presented in honor of Glen Brooks, the National Gun Turn-In Campaign in our Rotary Club. So when people read this book and check it out, they'll see you and your organization, and they'll see our organization, which is all good. So we really appreciate you.
Thank you very much.
We have a little. One more thing. We'd like to present you with a bookmark. There we go. Yeah. Let me. Let's do this, John. We'll get me in the book. They always want me. Thank you. So,
Thank you. That's really cool.
yes, thank you.